The Void Reavers, a ragtag crew of misfits and bounty hunters from across the solar system, are tasked with protecting two twins destined to change the fate of Earth. One grew up on Neptune with everything handed to him. The other, left behind on Earth, learned survival the hard way. Together they'll uncover secrets, face cosmic enemies, and challenge the might of Nessa Vex, the solar system's own Knights Templar. Welcome to the Intergalactic Space Academy, White Sands, New Mexico. The year is 2038, and class is officially in session. With our hosts, the Weaver and the Seeker, we have Batticus the Brutal, a bat-like being from Saturn with a deep obsession with harbor freight, caffeine, and Jesus Christ, who often gets mistaken for the Mothman. Decaron, the Void Reaver's captain, who took on the role after their former captain Seth was tragically assassinated. Call sign Crasher, the hitman from Jupiter with a dark past, and Batticus's soon-to-be ex-fiancée. Someone forgot to sign their prenup. Lastly, Fenrir, the Dragonborn from Venus, going to school with Tucker, Triton, and Cobblewobble at the Intergalactic Space Academy. Now, let's get into it. Earth Scum Legion.
Hey! Earth Scum! How's it going? Tucker here. Welcome to the official Astral Inside Earth Scum Legion podcast. Here we handle all the cute little human things the Weaver, our lovely little storyteller, wants to keep track of as humanity progresses. Am I the asshole stories and segments the crew handpicks every week to give you friendly advice, human news, and my favorite mental health and TV and media updates. Be sure to follow Astral Inside Earth Scum Legion on YouTube for our D&D campaign, Spotify and Apple Podcast for all the other fun stuff. Now, let's get into it.
Hello, my favorite listeners of the Intergalactic Space Garbage Universe. My name is the Weaver, and with my friend the Seeker, we are two celestials who wander, devoted to guiding humanity through the strange, the beautiful, and the bewildering. Each week, we gather around the cosmic hearth to bring you friendly advice, news updates, and deep dive conversations about the current media landscape, involving culture, and the ever-important realm of mental health. From the far reaches of the astral planes, we share what we've learned with humanity in watching it and grow. The triumphs, the struggles, the hope, and offer a little stardust-infused wisdom to help you navigate your journey. Because in this vast universe, you are not wandering alone. And if you'd like to see us in our more adventurous form, join our celestial party as we travel the stars in our ongoing D&D campaign, streaming every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's Astral Insight, Earth Scum Legion on YouTube. Welcome, everybody. How are we doing today?
They were great, Weevil. They were great. And I'm glad to be doing this gold episode with all of you today.
All right, Crasher, how are you feeling today?
I'm doing alright. I mean, I miss my family, but that's besides the point.
It's all right, dude. We'll get through this. I'm sure
My
that with
wife!
time, I know. I'm sure that with time, you'll see your wife again. I'm sure of it. Trust me. And Fenrir, what about you? Fenrir? Oh, shit. I think we're having transmission issues again. God damn it.
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing, Federal?
Come on, speak up, kiddo.
The caffeine juice hasn't kicked in yet.
Fenrir, it's illegal for aliens to be consuming caffeine. At least in your dimension, anyway.
Mm.
Let them get me.
All right. Well, because we've had some issues with transmissions and getting things together within the last week, we've decided to resonate with each other a little bit, if you will. Anyway, we came together and we decided that Tucker and Triton are going to read us some Am I the Asshole stories this week to start us off. And we are going to listen. And then once they're done, we're going to give our advice or whatever it is you humans need to hear in the moment. And to be fair, not all of us are as kind as, the rest of us. Badicus, he's a little brutal. Me, I'm going to do my best to try to be nice about it. But as a deity who's been scribing for Janus for so long, I kind of open doors, see what's inside, and kind of just roll with it at this point and tell it how it is. So I'll try to be super nice. I'm still working on my humanity, trying to get it. Thankfully, these wonderful people here are trying to help me figure that out. And yeah, so let's start with the first audio.
Okay. Here is Tucker Dragon also.
Take it away, children of the corn.
This Reddit Am I the Asshole story was handpicked by callsign Crasher, posted by Environmental Eb628. Ayada because I killed a chicken in front of a 12-year-old boy who was guilty of injuring it? Crasher, what the fuck? Anyway, I guess here I go. Reading now. I actually did this about 10 years ago, but it came up in a conversation recently and reactions were mixed. Now I am curious about what you all think about this. On a little patch of land in the middle of a bunch of fields, I had a garden or allotment. It was fenced off with the normal 3 rows of barbed wire and chicken wire reaching about 1 meter or 3 foot high. There I had 20 or so chickens and some fruit trees. Some local kid, about 12 by my estate, started walking his dog on the sand path between the fields. I don't know if he just moved to the region or if I never saw him before because he just got the dog. And let the dog off leash. This is not allowed, and there are signs informing everyone about this rule. It was a lively German Shepherd-sized dog who promptly jumped over my fence to chase the chickens, which is natural behavior. It's a dog after all. I grabbed the dog by the collar, and when the boy came near, I told him that he should not let his dog loose, even lying to him about how his dog could get injured by the rooster in an effort to convince him to keep it on a leash. The child unfortunately didn't listen, and 2 days later he let the dog loose again. It immediately went over the fence, and this time it caught a chicken. I catch the dog again. The boy comes to get his dog again, but this time there is a gravely injured chicken lying on the ground. This chicken was going to die. It was going to bleed out in about half an hour. And although I don't want to pay a veterinarian to heal what I consider to be food, I also don't think it's necessary to let the chicken suffer. So I grabbed my sharpened spade and decapitated the animal out of mercy.
What the
Cue in the crying. I hadn't been paying attention to the kid, but he had seen it all and was clearly very upset. Now, I will admit, killing animals always puts me in a bad mood, and telling him, "You owe me a chicken," wasn't the kindest thing I could have said. I also understand that the average human's relationship with animals and their deaths has changed drastically since I was a kid living on a farm about half a century ago. But if you don't want to see the disturbing consequences of doing stupid shit, then don't do stupid shit. A German Shepherd-sized dog is a dangerous animal if not trained and treated properly. It's better to learn this with a chicken than a toddler. So I felt justified in my actions, and so did my surroundings at the time. Yet I was surprised to find out that nowadays, several people believed that I had been unnecessarily cruel to the boy and probably messed him up. He should have been given more warnings, was the most common complaint. And looking back at it now, I do think I probably should have at least warned him before killing the chicken. It must have been a shock to him, so he could run away. But still, I believe the boy deserved to know the consequences of his actions. TLDR, after warning a 12-year-old to not let his dog off the leash the second time, I killed the chicken his dog injured in front of him.
Okay.
That was, oh, wow.
Yeah.
As me myself, the Weaver, I understand that this is something humanity does to survive to eat, but wow, that's um I am torn because do I think that child should have had to witness it? No. But I get the point at the same time.
I mean,
What do you think, Seeker?
I am to say this. I mean, we actually had incident similar to this not that long ago in the Astral plane where a cell hound got Tucker's leg and unfortunately he had to put it down to protect himself. And Barricade was upset about what was said. So, is this guy the asshole? Yes or no? I mean, should he have done that in front of the boy? No. But is it a consequence of the board's act? Yes. So it's a balance of right and wrong. Yeah.
I I think he is the asshole.
Why is that classful?
Not
Um,
in a normal, hey, you're
Jeez.
an asshole
I'm gonna have
sense,
to ask
though.
Crasher on this one. I might have to be like answering again after this because I don't know if I can answer this right away. I need opinions. Crasher.
I think he's an asshole because why the fuck would you do that in front of a kid? That is my one question. Yeah, it didn't seem like he had a choice. It really didn't. It seemed like he didn't really,
Mm,
you know, have
Yeah.
the choice. The chicken was dying, and either kill the chicken or let the boy not be responsible for his actions. Which, okay, you need to teach the boy a lesson, fine. But in doing so, you probably traumatize this kid. I'm. I think he's an asshole, not in a normal sense.
This is why I'm conflicted. I'm glad that we have the same point of view. I mean, I know as a Jupiterian, now don't take this offensively. This is just something that's in my books. That as a Jupiterian, most of the time you guys are very flashy people and quite honestly, very, very materialistic. And I could see something like this on your home planet being difficult for most people. But for you, because of your past and where you come from, you've seen a little more of the world like I have in that way. So, like, in a way, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm there are a lot of kids, even like Fenrir probably, who grew up on a farm, seeing this, often in a way. So, like, to them, it would almost be normalized. But for somebody like that kid, I really, really think it should have just been thought out a little more. What do you think, Fenrir?
Well, I got two questions. One, who trained the dog? And two, why the hell was a 12-year-old walking said dog? And who trained the kid?
I mean, that's a good question, figure. Eh? Because unless you teach them that trivial how to properly walk a dog, that trivial shouldn't be walking the dog. Especially if it's a German Shepherd sized dog. because from my understanding, those are considered large dogs.
Yes.
So,
I think so by Earth standards, from what my book says, that they are a bigger species, but they can get much larger than that. Holy shit!
I think, depending on, if I remember correctly, depending on the German Shepherd, like their average size is 80 pounds. And thinking human size, I'm pretty sure that's almost the same size as the kid.
yeah, so
Yeah.
why let a 80-pound kid walk a 80-pound dog? Because I could guarantee you, if that dog ran while it was on the leash, that kid would have ended up a lot more de- uh, dead. So, yeah.
As
So
somebody, oh, go ahead, Fenrir. I am so sorry.
I guess to answer the original question of are you the asshole, I'm gonna say no. Like, yeah, you, even though the kid saw what happens with life, kid was gonna learn someday or another. You just sped up the process.
I mean, uh, I I see your point, Federer. I mean, let me ask you this question. You beautifully formed yourself. How often did you have to kill your animals?
It depended on the animal. Like sometimes if we were having a feast, like the weekly feast, we'd kill an animal every week or every other week. And I, at a very young age, was a part of that because my family thought that we needed to learn the cycle of life. And killing your food is a way of surviving.
Mm,
All right,
yeah.
let me write that down. Venusians are less sensitive to unalivings or deaths because they are emotionally mature enough to handle it. Got it. So I am going to say that this guy, because personally for me, if I had seen the kid, I can't remember if he said he saw the kid or not. Did he see the kid?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, no, that's where you're the asshole. If you did not see that child, then I would have said no. But because you did, and you did it anyway, makes you kind of sadistic. And that
So
is
from what I understand, sorry to cut you off. From what I understand, is that he didn't realize that the boy can see him.
oh,
He knew
okay.
that the kid was there, but he didn't realize that the boy can see him until it was done.
I don't know if I still like that though, because I still feel like at that point you still know he's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
That's why I say he was the asshole.
that's why I have to say it too, because it doesn't really. I can understand again, like why you did it, but at the same time, in front of the child, and you knew already that that kid was there, whether or not they could see you, they know what's happening,
Yeah.
and that just fucked him up.
I also have a
Definitely.
question.
Mm.
Where are the parents?
They probably told him, okay, take the dog for a walk.
Okay, but this 12-year-old boy should not be trusted with a dog like that.
And like
In that
Fenrir
size.
said, like training dogs require, especially German shepherds, they're very much. That's why they make great police dogs. They're very much a genus, or not a genus, a species of dog essentially that is very well rooted in routine in that way. They often do very well with great training, and it sounds like that they just weren't willing to put in that time because, I mean, you have a son, you would think you would want to make sure that that dog is safe enough for that child. So
Yeah.
I think if anything, the parents and that dude are the asshole.
Alright.
So I don't think the dude's the asshole because he did put the animal out of the misery. I think the parents are the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I feel like the attack of chicken would have been more violent than the actual chop off head of chicken.
That's fair. That's fair. Before we pass the mic back over to one of the boys really quick, I don't know which one it's going to be, but could be Tucker or Triton. Is there anything else you guys want to add really quick before we transition into the next story?
No.
I just want to say really quick.
Yeah.
Either way, he's not. Either way, he is the asshole, but he also isn't in a way because of the animal thing. So I will agree with Fenrir on that.
Yeah, that too. That I agree with Fenrir on in terms of like, because I thought about it like that too. Like if this person or if this kid had to like physically watch it unalive, but that chicken also go through the tragedy of unaliving and the guy knowing that this was going to happen regardless. So I get it. He wasn't an asshole intentionally, so it kind of helps his case a little bit. A lot of bit actually. But next story.
Okay, let's move on to number 2. So I have to connect the traffic for a moment. Very good.
Incoming transmission. This next MIDSL story comes a poster called Critical Reset 2118. MIDSL for staying with my husband after we met when I was 17? Ah, that's so sweet. I will vote no. Anyway, here goes. I, 25 Fest, and my husband John, 27M, have been married for 7 years and known each other for 10, being family friends and neighbors. We have 2 kids, Queen 5 and John Jr. 1. We got married a year after we started dating, and our parents were very supportive of the relationship. I was catching up with my friend from college recently because we hadn't spoken in years and she was in town. She was never the biggest fan of John, but I excused that as jealousy because she hadn't had any luck with relationships. I was telling her about how we started dating. He asked me on Christmas morning with a gift basket because I thought it was really romantic. She did the math on our relationship and figured out that we started dating when I was 17 and he was 19. She got really upset and started yelling about how I was groomed and manipulated. We got into an argument and I left shortly after. I knew she was wrong, but I couldn't start thinking about if that was happened. I told John about what happened and he said that she was just jealous and trying to break us up like she had in college. He's probably right, but I still can't get it off my mind. He's an amazing husband and an active father, so I won't divorce him. But was she right? I really don't know anymore and it's really weighing on me. So I'm here on Reddit, which is famous for giving good advice. I should say this is a throwaway because my husband is an active lurker on this subreddit.
Good to know.
Update: if anyone was interested, I cut my friend off. All of your comments made me realize how toxic and miserable she was, and now she was just trying to bring me down with her. Thank you for all the support, but to the handful of comments that were downright misogynistic, shame on you. It's disgusting that you think that way, and I hope you never have kids to pass down those beliefs to. I imagine nothing else will happen, so this will be the last update. Alright, Void Rivers, do you have any advice from the celestial realm for this user?
Okay, first off, I do want to clarify. This submission was my own. So,
Wait, you wrote that?
No.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I took that very literally, Seeker. My bad. I almost forgot you're also an astral being. That's my bad.
No, this is what I found on Reddit.
Thank God. I didn't want to have to worry about how to emotionally connect with you later and help you fix that.
Hey, Weevil.
Yes.
We will talk about that little, but it was
No.
that I don't think this that I saw at all. The friend definitely is. And I mean, come on, who would tell if you been to cable since high school? Now, I will say this because I did read it myself. The age gap is 2 years, 17 and 19. One day met.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? I'm over 2,000 years old and Prince Brat over here. Basically, because we were around the same age because of celestial differences, still isn't interested in me. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but like 2 years is insane.
Yeah, so I say OP is not that helpful. The friend definitely is. And
Yeah, that friend is a toxic asshole, if you will.
yeah,
Sounds like they are very envious, and that is just not fair to you. That's not a friend.
yeah,
Ditch them.
no,
They're the asshole.
Like, it's just 2 years.
OP cut
Like,
her off.
honestly. Like, if we're gonna call people out on that shit, then we might as well call out half of the fucking population. Most of the population. Hey,
Was that console?
if you're gonna call someone out on that, about the 2 year difference, right?
Yeah.
Might as well call everyone else out too.
Very
I
true.
get it. She was in high school, right? But
Yeah.
still, it's just a 2 year difference. Get off your high horse. Befriend the asshole, not them.
Yeah.
All right, Fenrir, what about you?
I think if I listened correctly, she did in fact become ex-friends. But yeah, that ex-friend was definitely an asshole.
Yeah.
That was not the word I was going to use originally.
Wow, Seeker, thank you for making that one really easy. I didn't realize that people still cared about that kind of thing. Where was she when my mom was trying to get rid of me at 15 in Pompeii when with that weird 21-year-old? What the fuck? Let's talk about that. You want to talk about age difference? Get off your high horse. Get out of here. Transition into the next story.
Let's go to
What a
number
transition.
3. Anyone got any fellow comments?
Nope.
Okay.
Nah.
Here is the next transmission.
EITA for demanding my husband mop the floors. Story by Juiced Cabbage on Reddit. My husband, 41 Maythrond, and I, 35 Efrilect, and I have been together for 8 years, married for 1. A few years ago, we moved to a city in a warmer climate, and with the nicer weather, I noticed my husband would walk outside barefoot almost every day. He then walks around our house, sits on the couch, just goes about his day with feet that are often completely black on the bottom. We live in a dirty city, downtown Los Angeles. There is always trash in the street. There's often dog poop abandoned on the sidewalk, occasionally human poop. He oftentimes walks barefoot in the road to get to his car,
true. I
and
had
the
to write it
tar
down.
really makes his feet black. We live in a shoes-off house, meaning we take our shoes off when we get home. It's not just comfortable, but I like to do it because it cuts down on the germs you carry inside, meaning we don't have to clean the floors as often. But if he walks around barefoot outside, that defeats the purpose of taking our shoes off inside. For a few years now, I've tried to talk him into wearing shoes outside. From a health perspective, my doctor told me he could get hookworms from walking barefoot. He won't budge, so I gave that up and accepted his weird behavior. But I hate how dirty our floors are. My socks turned black just within a couple hours of walking around our house. I tried to convince him to clean his feet off when he comes inside. The best I could get out of him is he has a designated foot brush in the shower, but he only showers once a day, if that. So his feet are
Ew.
often still dirty in our house. He often won't clean his feet until I see them and complain. To his credit, he usually cleans them when I ask, but at the same time, I hate being the dirty feet police, and the dirt damage is already done by that time. Now, I've told him that if he won't clean his feet off, then he will have to mop the floors every Saturday. He says I am being a controlling AH and a germaphobe. I think the majority of his friends wouldn't put up with this gross behavior either. I've been more than reasonable in trying to work with him on this, so he's been an AH to call my boundaries controlling. I want clean floors, and I've given him 3 options to get there. Yes, he has flip-flops and slip-ons. Doesn't matter. He says he wants his feet to be free.
Okay, who was this?
Mine. Oh, Weaver.
Okay,
Yeah.
off.
So I'm gonna say no because I completely understand this to my very core. I also like to keep things neat and tidy in my archives, and if Lumidos just decided to carry a bunch of, or knock over a bunch of Stardust bottles of, ink and stuff, roll around in it, and continue to do his job freely about my archives, I would be really upset. Absolutely not. I don't think this person's the asshole. You are just trying to keep things nice and tidy. It sounds like he's trying to avoid responsibility as a normal functioning adult and keeping his feet clean, or at least wearing flip flops, like she said. Like you could at least do that. Like that. No, that he is gonna get hookworms. Mark my words. I'm writing it down.
Okay, so I, I agree he is the well, okay, I agree he's not the asshole he is. I mean, dude, if you come to the mess, I am of the belief you should clean it up. It's that simple in my mind, anyway. But
I think so too. I completely agree. Henry, what do you have to say? How does your mom handle things on the farm? How would she react to you doing this? I mean, I would imagine shoes for you can be rather difficult because dragon, but I imagine your mother would not take kindly to cleaning to have to handle this.
Well, our family, we do not wear shoes, mainly because shoes don't fit our feet. So like I don't have any leeway there, but our family also has a rule of you wipe your feet when you come in the door. And if I think the humans have those weird toe shoe things.
So I understand what you mean. They're the slippers.
The it looks like sleeves or gloves for your feet.
Oh, socks. Yes, socks.
No,
Humans
no,
have
no, no. Not socks. Like you
what?
can still see the toes.
The fuck? You mean wait, hold on. You mean sandals?
Handle?
No,
What the fuck is what?
Final could it be possible that you're talking about the putting like plastic bags over the feet?
Are you talking about water shoe?
um, give me a second.
Hold on, wait a minute. Are you talking about gloves? Those aren't feet, they're hands. What is happening?
These things.
Yeah, the weird finger or the
Those
toe
are
shoe things.
flippers.
Yeah, no, those are the those are the hiking shoes, the ones with your toes or
Oh,
whatever.
those?
Yeah, the ones that they specially make so that like they form to fit your feet so it's more comfortable.
Why
I
doesn't he wear those? Then his feet are.
Because Fenrir, he wants his feet to be free. Let the dogs
I'm
out.
not sure.
have not seen those feathers, but that's new to me.
I'm surprised, actually. They're one of the things I wrote about in my book because they were so strange that I actually saw this thread coming into my weave on the loom on the astral plane, and I was like, oh, hell no. What are they doing now? What is this specific group of people that I refuse to say on TikTok Live or Spotify doing now? And it's those ugly ass shoes. I don't even like them. I think they're ugly. I get the purpose, but at the same time, if I wanted to wear shoes, I'm not picking that. Not to do anything, honestly. Like, it feels nice, but like, what function does it have to protect your feet?
Also, human feet are so fragile. What if he steps on something that's gonna give him disease?
Yeah,
Literally. He probably already is diseased with the way he's talking about his feet. You want him to be free? Nah, some brain eating amoeba's got to be up in there, changing his mind, making these decisions more. Because ain't no way, fucking grubby McNasty over here with his feet, laying on couches, the bed, nasty.
Weevil. I'm gonna say this for you. Humans have a subcultural them not wearing any clothes going in public.
Hold up, there are humans that don't wear clothes in public.
Yeah, no, there are humans that do that. They have something called, I believe. Let me flip these pages. Nude beaches,
Yeah,
entirely nude.
That is disturbing.
Where are they? I
Yes.
just want to know about them so I can investigate.
What? Why?
What?
Uh, I don't know how they're gonna feel about some magic piper elven man wandering onto the beaches of this place here called Florida, whatever it is.
I just
Um,
want to investigate. It sounds nice.
why do I see? I don't want to have to see this, but when I see it in my head, I just see this tall elven man with a magic flute, essentially walking onto this beach nude, except he's still wearing only his hat.
Yeah.
Like, I. Oh
Sometimes
man.
you want to go somewhere where you feel free.
Okay, so you don't think this guy's an asshole. You're with him then, right?
Sure.
Are you with this man? This nasty human being who
No, I
doesn't
think
wash
he's
his feet?
disgusting. I think he's gross. But however, when it's a nude beach, it's a nude beach. But that's beside the point.
Your wife is gonna be so pissed when she gets back. Next
She's dead.
story.
She doesn't need to know she's dead.
All the sand in all the uncomfortable places.
okay, let's
Ugh.
move on
Just
to
don't sit
our
down.
All right, take it away, Tucker. Last one.
Don't sit down.
okay, our last transmission.
All right, Fenrir. Let's see what you picked for the Void Reavers today. Ida for believing my daughter and revoking her punishment after I heard the full story about why she got suspended from school. I'm a mom of a 13-year-old girl who was suspended from school last week. The school told me she had made an anti-Semitic remark to another student. I was horrified and grounded her immediately, taking away her phone, computer, and consoles. My daughter swore she hadn't said anything anti-Semitic and that the boy accusing her was lying. At first, I wasn't sure what to believe. She had recently become friends with a Palestinian boy who moved here from Gaza about 2 years ago. He is a U.S. citizen because his mom worked here and became one before moving back, but he does not have many friends at school. My daughter befriended him and included him in her friend group despite the rest of them being only girls. This made me wonder if maybe she had been influenced and repeated something she did not fully understand. The school could not even tell me what was supposedly said. They told me the boy who accused her refused to repeat it because it was extremely anti-Semitic. I called that boy's mother to apologize, but she would not tell me what the words were either. Instead, she told me I needed to make sure my daughter stopped being friends with the Palestinian boy because he was a bad influence. That made me very uneasy. I decided to call the Palestinian boy's mom, and when I
Oh,
explained what
hell.
was going on, she said her son had told her the same version of events as my daughter. According to both kids, they were walking together at recess when he was telling her about losing relatives back in Gaza, his aunts, uncles, and cousins. My daughter said, "That's horrible. I hate that they
Aw.
did that to your family." The other boy overheard part of the conversation, jumped in, and said he was lying, and later accused her of making anti-Semitic remarks. After hearing both sides match, I realized I might have jumped to conclusions. I called the boy's mom back to explain that I was not going to punish my daughter anymore since the story did not add up. I also apologized to my daughter for grounding her without being sure of the facts. Now I am wondering if I handled this all wrong. On one hand, I wanted to take anti-Semitism very seriously. I'm technically Jewish myself, but non-practicing, and the school did conclude that she was wrong. On the other hand, it looks like my daughter was punished and suspended unfairly, and I may have reinforced that by reacting too harshly at first. And the admin of the school has a history of being a bit weird. This is Tennessee. Am I the asshole for grounding her before knowing the full story, and then reversing it once I believed her? Fenrir's out for blood, I see. What you think of all this, guys?
Manuel, it's your story. You begin.
So, fun fact, I had to search up one of the words because my brain wasn't processing what it meant. But no, I don't think you're the asshole for grounding her and then taking it away. Like, you grounded her off of the, oh shit, my child is saying these things and definitely shouldn't be. But once you got the information, you took that back and apologized, which I think is the biggest thing.
I agree with you, Manuel. I do. I mean, you want to be careful, but you do need all the facts. And that's what the mom was told us to do. And when she got the facts, yeah, I mean, you the unnecessary punishment. So I agree.
Pressure, why don't you take the mic? I'll go last because I need a second.
Alrighty. So, the mom did what she thought was right, and then she rectified the situation when she found out that it wasn't. Perhaps she's not the asshole. If anything, the school is not telling them what she said. Um, However, they shouldn't really be talking about this in school to begin with. Um, but yeah, I'm the asshole.
Nicely put. My biggest piece of, wow, you're the asshole within this story, was when the mom went to call child in question that had issues with this, or the mother of that child. And the mother of that child proceeded to basically say, well, your kid fucked up. I'm right, you're wrong. In a way that was so passive aggressive, but not at the same time, and just basically saying, oh, well, my kid said whatever, your kid said. So, no, 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 no. That's where me as a person, I would have been like, no, 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 no. We're not playing this game. Tell me what it was that was said right now, if that's the case. Because at this point, the school's not going to tell you. It should be between the parents at that point to figure this out. And if you can't handle that as an adult, that that mother definitely is an asshole. The school's a bunch of dicks. And I personally think that that child, it hurt me a little bit as the Weaver, because watching or hearing that kid essentially say what they said makes me wonder what those parents are saying at home. And he said that to a kid who was hurt about his family and the tragedy that's, unfortunately been an ongoing thing for a while now. And as, a Void Reaver or really celestial being, I just want that kid to know that he's in my thoughts. That's really sad. But it really makes me wonder what that kid is hearing at home, because you have to be careful. You think your kids aren't listening, and this is one of those prime examples where you are suddenly reminded. And I think that's why this hurt this mother so much, because her kid went to school with that mentality and caused some sort of trouble. So it was easier to just deflect. And I think that was wrong. I think that mom is the biggest asshole here. So I don't think OP is the asshole at all. I really do think it's the school and everybody else and how they handled it, because you did what you thought was right for your kid, like Crasher said. You gave everything back and apologized, like Fenrir said, and like the Seeker said, I don't think you're in the wrong. You corrected it, and you are sticking up what you as a parent believe in, and trying to make your kid a well-rounded individual. You should not beat yourself up over that at all. No, like there was so much with this story that just, it's one of the reasons that it's probably going to take me forever to figure out this purpose thing. But damn, this one was really, that was tough. I feel bad for that kid, honestly. Now she's going to have to go back to school to fucking whatever madness ensues after that, because darn well kids don't forget. They can be mean.
I agree with what I did, and I will say, if anything, that the school itself should have investigated more into it and asked the kids what they were talking about to get the full story of it. But that's just my thought.
That's just a theory.
Mm, I yeah, that was a good one to end with, honestly. That was a really good one, Fenrir.
It was.
Thank you guys for aiding with us this week, and me and the Seeker's mission here to help me figure out what it is about humanity that I seem to be missing, because again, I'm here giving this advice. We're here giving this advice and stuff like that as astral beings, and or celestial if you want to get technical, because you're also interplanetary.
Yeah.
But it's been a
But
pleasure to sit down and figure this stuff out with you guys, and to learn a little bit more about humanity, and why I can't wait to hopefully get back to it.
yeah,
But
well,
we're definitely going to continue this fun little podcast we've been working on. And there will be a cute little transition in just a moment for our next segment.
Yeah, we will tackle into universal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Indubitably. All right. Well, I guess we'll hit you with another transition and see you in the next segment. It's
Yeah.
mine.
Welcome, Earthlings, to Earth Scum Media, your favorite new place to get the weather and news updates for this week. And the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Oh, and the next.
Tucker, they get it! Excuse him. We were asked to do this every week as our dynamic seems to be rather.
Amazing.
Alright, so you wanna handle commentary and I will give the news?
Please and thank you.
Right. Anyway, so the weather this week in the United States is rather chilly, but also facing some temp fluctuations. For instance, when this podcast releases on Sunday this week, sorry for the delay, transmission signals can be spotty with such strange weather. But yes, Sunday, Florida is back up to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the Midwest, like Texas, will range from 63 to 81 degrees, going from the upper corner of 63 degrees, then we trail on down to the bottom, leaving you all at 81 degrees. Whereas Montana, from south to north of the state, 42 up top to 50 degrees. Then we move over to Washington State and California. Sunday, 64 to 68 degrees from northern Cali to southern. Then in Washington it ranges from low 50s up in the southern part of Washington, and then to 58 degrees south.
Nice. Those day temps only, or is there more, my whittle fishy?
Whatever. And yes, actually, later in the evenings, I would recommend digging out your finest winter blankets and apparel. In all states I have mentioned too, by the way. Winter is coming. Looking good is just as important as being warm.
Have any good places to shop for that then? Or are you gonna leave us hanging?
Oh, actually, yes. I don't go to a lot of places on Earth, but when I do, it's Macy's or menswear.
I was joking. Anyway, I really want to bring light of this as it happened last week. I do not like predators like this, so in case any of this has died down for this piece of garbage, I will not let it die.
What are you doing? We talked about this. This is a very touchy thing for a lot of Americans.
Shut up! This is exactly the kind of thing we need to be doing as reporters. Guys like this should be remembered for what they are and what they do to kids. So, let's talk about more middle school football coach Caleb Elliott, shall we?
You're gonna do it anyway. Let's blast the fucker, I guess.
A former Salina middle school coach was proven to be a fucking predator at the school he worked at. Looks like Caleb is facing more charges. Again. The federal grand jury indicted Caleb not on 1, but on 8 fucking counts for exploitation of children. In case you want to read about it, it's literally everywhere online in Texas right now. That's all we have right now, but it's not a good development in his case. Ugh.
All right. Now we pass the mic over to the Weaver for politics.
Dear Scum Media listeners, sorry I took so long. I had a lot of research to compile for this week for the politics segment. A lot has happened. But thanks for listening and waiting for me. I wanted to talk about something a little different as opposed to the things happening in our universe this week and touch on something going on in the US this week. I have Crasher here who is going to ask me questions about my topic after I read my piece to you, in case there are some questions he has. Crasher?
Yes. Thanks for.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm with my wife, but I'm ready.
Don't worry, buddy. It's all right.
All
Get
right.
into this topic and it'll be like she never... never mind. We'll just get into it.
Oh, I don't think my wife would enjoy this topic.
All right. So, in my travels amongst the stars, I've seen many, many things. For instance, I've watched my family pass in front of my eyes. I've seen all the world wars, including World Wars 1 and 2. Many wars, really. I've seen kings fall, queens wrongfully accused, and children starve on the streets of the United States in the 1920s. But nothing compares to everything that I've learned and written about so far this week about something very close to my heart. because I too am a survivor of this kind of stuff. Why this is important. I find it fascinating that the humans in the United States, particularly the government, waited this long to release the files to begin with. Now, don't get it all twisted. I don't agree with all Democrats. I don't agree with all Republicans. I believe each side was wrong at some point. I believe the American citizens have been failed by their government time and time again. Before the release of the files was finally voted on unanimously. But let's be real. There's no room for moral high ground here. Both sides have miserably failed the people, whether it was intentional or not, or whether or not they did, in fact, just sign a bill, and the president himself has signed it, to release these documents within the next 30 days, actually. Now, I had an entire segment prepared for this, but I wasn't honestly expecting this to go through so fast. And I'm glad it did, but I'm surprised that. But let's be real. There's no room for moral high ground here. Both sides have miserably failed the people, whether it was intentional or not. I find it strange, honestly, Crasher, that serving justice comes so minimally to the people of Earth voted in to protect them. Like, it exists, but the backbone to support their policies and bills is another thing entirely. Entirely. I feel like they'd much rather argue than do something that benefits their people because they view their parties as bank accounts built off of everybody else's tax dollars. At least most of them. I do have hope for the millennial politicians, though, as well as Generation Alphas. I think it's going to be them that changes things. With that being said, I would like to talk about the Epstein files. And I'm confused about just about everything that I've read that Donald has to say about the Epstein files and his relationship with him in general. It's clear from photos, I mean, as early as the 80s to the 90s, that they've been close. Not only pictures with their partners, by the way, but pictures of them together at many elite events. Also, he rode on Epstein's private jet 7 times. And they're not close? Not even a little? I call bullshit. Yeah, but I have a feeling that a lot of the things are going to start changing with them because we're kind of that like bridge in between what it's going to be. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Seeker. I really liked that question actually, and that clarification is really nice to have. But yeah, I do believe that after this mess, I don't think humans are, because of these next 3 years that the Americans are stuck with their orange dictator. Um, that I don't see the change coming as easily to come back from all of this stuff because it's not just one area of their government that they've had to worry about through this presidency at all. Even just these Epstein files, it's everything from their food to their economy to education, ice. It's everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Um, it's almost like he's a plague that's just spreading. But yeah, so again, but I will say this because my entire document at this point, um, or not my document, but my segment in general, I was actually super happy when I saw that they were passed, or this bill was passed, because not only is it going to give justice to these victims, so a lot of what I had to say is mute now, but I'm, I guess what I'm hoping for is to see and understand just the severity of the impact Trump's relationship had with Jeffrey because there were over 20,000 or there were 20,000 pages released, but his name alone is mentioned 1,500 times at least so far in counting from what people have counted themselves and actually AI has also counted within those 20,000 pages. So, I find it a little hard to believe that he could still say um that he's just not on them. I think that's insane. And as somebody watching humanity grow and trying to understand and grow with them so that I can hopefully re-enter one day, it's guys like this that really just make me almost at first question why I'd want to go back, but then they remind me that this is why I want to come back. Um, to be a voice for people that don't think that they could speak on these matters themselves. And I'm very excited to re-enter humanity despite all of this. But yeah, so why don't we get into the questions considering the best update possible for the story's already occurred, and I want this to be as up to date as possible because that's what everybody deserves. So you have any questions for me, Crusher, that pertain to anything I haven't mentioned yet or anything you'd like me to mention?
Yeah, I do.
Alrighty, let's hear it.
So, when you found out about the picture that Trump gave, how did you feel about that?
Oh my god. Oh, you must be referring to the drawing that was sent. The card, the birthday one.
Yeah.
The one of the naked lady, right? Signature he
Mhm.
used to cover her nether region, if you will. Um, I was actually incredibly disgusted by that, considering this man said that he never did any such things to any young women, and then to send something like that, and to not know of Epstein's activities, if you will, that seems a little bullshit. And I don't understand how you can deny that with that evidence found against him. But even Epstein himself mentions in his emails to Wolf and Ghislaine that he knows a lot of bad guys, but Trump is top tier. And you got to be a bad dude for somebody like Epstein to say, yeah, no, I know a lot of shitty dudes, but Trump takes the fucking cake. Like, that's, and this birthday card, that's what that made me think of. I, I can't imagine, thinking like he does about Trump and then getting that card. Because if it was enough to bother Jeffrey, like some of his actions and behaviors, that's that's a whole other level of filth that or earth scum really that I just can't even begin to cover. But to me it clearly felt like he was conveying a message about the time they spent together, or maybe perhaps it reflected conversation they had about all their perverse actions or interests. Either way, it was disturbing. And the poem, that was wild. It was kind of like a weird outline of a conversation that they seemed to have had over the phone or something, is the way that I read it and the way that it sounded, which made it that much more disturbing. Because who's recording who?
Um, yeah, like when I found that part out, I kind of was deeply disturbed by it. I don't know why you would think that's appropriate to do it to a so-called friend and not, and then go on to say, hey, we don't even know each other that well.
But I've been on his jet 7 times also.
Yeah, which,
I'm glad that we have the same point of view on that. Continue.
mhm. We ready for our next question?
Yes, indeed. Lay it on me, Magic Pipe Man.
Let me just pull out my flute and play the magical song of the Epstein file. Um, do you think that the feud between Epstein and Trump, do you think it was really about the real estate, or do you think it was something more deeper than that?
I like this question a lot, actually. Do we know? Not necessarily. But with evidence that we have pointing to their feud starting back in 2004 because of that property, um, it seems very strange to me that after that real estate situation occurred and Trump outbid Epstein, communications became so sparse with their special interest, if you will. Um, but if I had to guess, and this isn't to say it's true or not, but I am willing to bet that something more happened. That a mansion or property could have stopped their friendship because of what Epstein was doing behind the scenes. I would go as far as to say that again, this is all my speculation, that because of that property, either Epstein threatened Trump or Trump threatened him with their current activities, something to do with it. And they both split ways after that because neither could trust each other anymore. Well enough to have a solid relationship, I guess. I think Epstein knew that Trump could never really bark like he said, though, in that one email. Despite their friendship being no more, though. So I guess what I mean is I think Epstein and Trump just parted ways because it's easier than wondering who was going to say what first and release the vile news to the public. That would be my guess. That's the only because like what because like on what planet crasher would like like what I can't think of a good reason. Like, okay, so what? He outbid me on this house. There's got to be more to it than that. I refuse to believe that. That's so petty.
And also the fact that Epstein had the dog, had a video of a dog with a Trump doll whipping it up.
Yeah, and the Hillary Clinton one was left untouched. So it makes me wonder if like
That kind of makes me like that kind of flares up some speculation, right? Like cause the
absolutely.
cause of concern, even to some
Because
degree.
like and that's not even something that they found strictly, like, in those files that were released. That was something they found on Jeffrey Epstein's property within the files. So that was
Hmm.
something that was a 20-second video of his one of his dogs, like, chewing up this Trump doll, leaving the Hillary one untouched, and it was only 20 seconds. So it really does make you wonder if, like, the beef between them was so bad that he trained his own dogs to be aware of what this man looked like, how to treat him, and he was an intruder because that doesn't sound like a friendly video to me. Not at all.
And again, this is all speculation, but I choose to believe that something else happened between Epstein and Trump.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's just a matter of time to figure out exactly what that was. And we're going to find out within those files. So I think, in a way, that's part of the reason Trump's folded at this point and signed that
Yeah.
bill. He has no choice. Because regardless of whether or not he had even signed it, there are proper ways to go about releasing them that could have been done even without his signature. However, I understand wanting that stamp of approval from him at this point because this isn't just something you can gloss over. He has to take accountability. I mean, for fuck's sake, his name files 15,000, 1,500 times so far. You can't tell me that's just coincidence. That's crazy.
Which kind of leads into my next question. Why, in your opinion, did it take so long to release the file?
This is a very short and sweet answer, actually. Why do most humans do anything they're told to do? Here, I think either side of the congressional aisle had been if they had been transparent this entire time while they've been on office, any single one of them, they'd have had nothing to fear. I think there's more than just one member of Congress listed in those files. I think I mean, for fuck's sake, Clay, this is for you, Clay. What the hell? You voted no and then literally said, let me read this to you, Crasher, by the way. Hold on. He said, I have it pulled up because I was actually baffled by this before you came in here, and I have read it to the seeker, but it says, where are you? So Clay Higgins, the Republican who was the only one in Congress to vote no on the passing of this bill, he argues that quote unquote from, and now I'm on pbs.org is where I got this, under politics and fighting. It says, Rep. Clay Higgins of the Republican Party of Louisiana, being the sole dissenter, argued that the bill's language could lead to the release of more information on innocent people mentioned in the federal investigation. The Senate later approved it unanimously, skipping a formal vote. What does that sound like to you?
It sounds like he might have something to hide, or that he's
I would
protecting
have to agree.
someone.
Um, I think what really, really struck me about this and what really pissed me off when I heard that, in my mind, I broke it down into a simple statement, kind of like how, like, when you take an algebra equation, it just, there's an easier way to say it. And to me, it sounds like it's a roundabout, easier way to just say. So if you see some of our names on those files, just know that You don't know what we did there. And I could be one of them. I'm not saying that that's true, but that sounds like a really roundabout way to say that.
Here's
That's
the
right.
thing though, when these files do get released, they could say that they were pressured by Epstein. That's 100% that all that they could do, right?
Yeah.
But to cover their ass, they could
Mhm.
say that. And I guarantee that everyone's already written their press release about it.
Mm.
And it just disgusts me that it took so long to release them.
I have to agree. And I don't quite
And
understand that part of humanity. I'm glad you're here to try to help me understand it, but like I can see even you are baffled by this. And you live within this solar system, so this must be mind-boggling to you.
yeah, but I look at Earth and I'm like, fuck that place, I'm going back to Jupiter.
That's
Which, okay, now for my next question. Why do you think Trump said he was never close with Epstein? Was it to cover his tracks?
okay. So, um,
So the only thought that comes to mind is his presidency, his Roman Empire, or what he's trying to be anyway. But let me tell you, as a Roman pagan and as somebody who was unfortunately from Pompeii before it was ever what it is now, you could never be the Roman Empire. I just want you to know that, okay? You are literally the worst Republican in American history, and I can't think of anybody else I despise more in terms of presidents. And that's tough because were a lot of interesting presidents, I could say, and now they don't look half as bad. But anyway, um, so the only answer really is the United States hates his president. Or sorry, my goodness, let me start that over. But right now, more than ever, the United States hates predatory behaviors in child abusers. He doesn't want to lose his big boy chair, is how I like to put it. Which, by the way, if he continues getting spray tanned, that poor chair is definitely going to need to be replaced. Um, but he doesn't care about the victims or anyone he ever talks to about the files. He quite literally just called a reporter a pig the other day for asking about the release of them in front of entire press conference. Anytime anyone brings it up, he reverts back to childish tactics, name calling, and deflects. He doesn't want to take responsibility or pay any time for his crimes. Everything that he's ever built is already on a flimsy foundation, and saying he was close with Epstein would just be the drop kick from Vatican Trump needs to send the entire thing crumbling down. He simply cares more for himself than he does the American people, at least to me. That's what I seem to gather.
Yeah, I really do think that he's coming up his track. Because he's like, hey, if I say this, people won't investigate it too.
Oh, absolutely, for sure. I think at this point, he wanted so badly to essentially continue on his legacy, if you will, with the things that he does do on a much larger scale, and it's just not working out for him. It's another failed business to him, anyway.
Welcome, Earthscum Media listeners, for another update for this week in media. My name is Call Sign Crasher, an elven species of alien from Jupiter. But sometimes we call it Jupiter. I
Uh,
am one of the alien reporters for this evening, although I wish Laura could see this.
there, buddy. You'll see her soon.
Oh my god! I knew I was always die young!
Oh, oh, you emotional smooth criminal. That's not what I. Ugh. For anyone that doesn't understand why Peter fucking Piper over here is crying before his segment, watch our D&D campaign on YouTube at Astral Insight Earthscum Legion to watch Batticus verbally abuse him over his dead wife and family.
This is my segment on social media and the workplace professional. What's the
Oh my goodness, thank you. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about someone named Melissa Barrera, right, Crasher?
Yes. Actually, I find the firing of Melissa Barrera due to a tweet to be very concerning. Not just because of controversy surrounding it, but because it feels like they were trying to cover it up. Cancel culture is a problem, but it's weird when the studio's doing the canceling. Jenna Ortega left due to the firing, which prompted Scream 7 to become as fan servicey as possible. Bringing back legacy characters like Penny Prescott, they're bringing back notorious actors in Matthew Lillard and Courtney Cox. And what I mean is, before they announced the cast, they decided, hey, we're gonna fire this character for a tweet about Palestine. He was in support of Palestine. And that delayed the production of Scream 7 because they fired Melissa Barrera. And then Jenna Ortega left. And then they brought back a person that was in the Scream franchise in the beginning, which is the director of this current production. But my problem is, are they trying to cover their ass with making it as fan service as possible? Fans been begging for Schumacher to come back. They felt like Sidney Prescott didn't get a good send off. They felt like Courtney Cox's character, Gail Weathers, could have been better in the franchise. And they're covering their asses by giving everything that the fans want to get away from this controversy that happened after Scream 6.
I guess my first question, as an astral being from the astral plane, who doesn't quite exactly understand all the lingo that you're throwing out there, what do you mean by cancel culture is a problem? And how do you think it's affected what will be the delivery of the final product of the film?
Well, cancel culture is a social construct to where if fans feel like you've done something wrong in the past, they're trying to cancel you, as in they tried to ruin your career as
I
such.
see.
However, it's weird that it was the other way around. It was the studio that did the cancel. Fans were in support of Melissa, whether they be in support of Palestine or not. They were in support of her because it was her opinion. And her getting fired left a bad taste in the mouths of fans. And now fans are you kind of see it, but now that Matthew Lillard is announced to be in it, and everyone loves Matthew Lillard, they stopped, but before he was announced, they were canceling Scream 7. The fans were trying to cancel Scream 7. But then they brought all these legacy characters back. And now they're just going to be like, we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Now, don't hate me for this, but I believe I've watched the first, second, and third Scream with Tucker and his brother, as he believes they go to shit after the first few. True millennial kid at heart, or millennial's kid at heart, that's for sure. Martin, well, he finds horror to be boring because of his upbringing, so he doesn't typically enjoy them or dislike them. But do you think being fan servicey is a good thing or a bad thing, or is it neutral when it comes to filmmaking? Why is it something that might be necessary?
Well, look at films like Deadpool and Wolverine. They brought back legacy characters, and now it's very fan service. You look at Endgame, and that was very fan service. There is a way to do it wrong, though. But there's also a way to do it right. But it could be a good thing, and it also can be a bad thing at the same time. It could be such as too much fan service. Like there's no plot, there's only cameos, or there's only star making returns. There's never a plot that hooks you in.
All right.
As the first part of your question, of your long question, I am going to say this. Titan can go eat a fucking corn on the cob if he's gonna be a little bitch about horror. But that's besides the point. Because I personally liked Scream 5. And I liked Scream 6. I think all the Scream movies except for 2 is top tier horror. But that is my opinion. And we all have our own opinion.
Right.
But
That makes sense. I mean, I haven't seen them all, so I should probably give the rest of them a shot.
yeah.
But I definitely will. And it's not so much that Triton doesn't really like, or it's that because of his upbringing, it doesn't phase him, so it's boring. But
Yeah, my family died in front of me.
all right, next question. In what
Mm.
ways do you believe or know her statements were covered up by her company? Do you think this was to keep or drop her? Will they replace her role, and what could that mean for the release date?
So, in 2023, right after Scream 6 got released, that's when they announced that they were no longer moving forward with Melissa Barrera. Then they had Scream 7 locked in and they had the script made. They were just about to film it and then they dropped her. So then, from what we gathered, this is a whole new movie without that character. And this is a whole new thing that is going to go back to the old Scream movies. Because we have the actor that plays Roman Bridger coming back. We have all the actors that were the killers coming back. Skeet Ulrich came back and was Billy Loomis for the last 2 movies. Because Melissa Barrera's character, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the last Scream movie, turn around. But she was the daughter of Billy Loomis. So that was why he came back, because it was in her head. They made a legacy. They tried making a new legacy with these new characters. A tweet goes out and then they drop her for that tweet. I didn't see any fans complain about the tweet. I've heard people complain about what the studio did about that tweet.
All right. So I guess that leads into this next question of if you were going to give your opinion on all of the Scream movies in the franchise in its entirety, how would you rate them from 1 to 6 so far? So, which would be the best at number 1 and which would be the worst at number 6 and why?
For me, number 1 is the first Scream movie. I love the first Scream movie. I've never seen a movie like that done. I was so meta about horror movies, but it still was scary. The worst one would be number 2. It wasn't there for me. I did not enjoy that movie as much as I thought I would. And they killed Randy off, which was my favorite character. Or is his name Rudy? They all kinda.
I think it's Randy. Are you talking about the police officer?
No, that's Dewey.
Oh, my bad. I'm trying.
No, you're good. I'm the movie mogul. I should know this. But no, it. And they're also bringing him back, which he was killed in the 5th movie. So I kind of want to know why they're bringing all these people back. But I guess we will find out once the movie releases how it does
Absolutely.
and what it does.
Now, this is actually a great question to end with because it sums up what you just said, but adds a little more context. What are your predictions on how this movie is going to do in theaters and at all after this controversy took place? Are you going to watch it when it comes out?
The theaters as a whole, which I'm going to make a separate segment about next week, are not doing well as a whole. It's because the movies lately have not been that great. However, I think that Scream 7 will do as big as the last Scream has done because of the legacy. I think this could really be the highest grossing Scream movie because of all the legacy characters that are coming back.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, I know, is a staple, an American staple, from what I understand. Like, he's
And
done a lot within the Hollywood industry that even I really
mhm,
liked from what I've seen so far, and it's actually really exciting.
Matthew Lillard has been championing for Schumacher to come back for a while because we don't know if he's dead. Yeah, he's got a TV smashed into his head, but we don't know because sometimes you could survive that. And there were
God damn!
okay. But you couldn't survive that. And they were gonna bring him back for the 3rd Scream movie, but the Columbine shouldn't happen, and they decided not to. As for if I'm going to go see it in theater, if reviewing movies was not my job, I most likely will not go see it in theater.
Yeah, I get it. Silly question, but it's still good to know for our listeners that want to actually go see this if a movie buff, even such as yourself, is going to give it the time of day, you know?
Yeah. If it wasn't my job, I would not go see it in theaters. But since it is, I'm excited to see what they do.
I'm excited at this point too, especially if you're saying you're excited, because it gives me somebody other than just perhaps Tucker or Triton to sit with for movies. Because don't get me wrong, each have their own unique tastes, if you will. I mean, I like sitting through the movies with those guys, but I feel like I'd have a better time because I ask a lot of questions with somebody who knows a lot more than they do.
I have a question for the audience.
Ooh.
What would you rather? Would you rather watch Scream 7 on theaters or would you wait for Paramount Plus to release it onto their streaming services? I'm eager to know what your guys' answers are.
Yes, put it down in the comments section on Spotify for us because I would love to see what other Earthlings think about this movie franchise as a whole and not just this movie. But
Because, yes, like as most horror movies do, they kind of overstay their welcome. However, I feel like Scream is that one exception because I thoroughly enjoy every single Scream movie I've seen.
If I
So,
may interject, I would prefer to watch this, I believe we call it Pop Plus.
well, we don't really have to worry so much because Alien Black Market, and we got our good old buddy Crasher over here to help us with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, me personally, in my dimension, we don't have these movies, and, but for some reason, we do have Paramount Plus. Don't ask me why, but
and this segment wasn't for you, now was it?
I don't know if I can cut out me laughing because like that was not what I was expecting to hear. I thought I didn't. Oh, I'm confused, Seeker. Okay, Seeker, I have a question, okay?
uh,
As what on earth is happening over there for you guys to only have Paramount Plus in your dimension? What?
whoever invented it, I guess, got access to multiversal technology, and for some reason it ended up in my dimension, so I don't know why or how, but that's something I need to investigate.
I can hook you up, I know a guy.
Hmm. We will
I'll hook you up
see.
with Denton Brass. I'll treat it like a drug deal.
But I will say, I haven't seen the Scream movies, but the Top Gun and Mission Impossible movies are great.
If there is a demand for it, I would love to offer you a place to do a commentary with me and Batticus on the Scream movies.
I mean, maybe sometime if you're up for that. Hmm.
And we will see you in the next one, guys. That was my segment. Is Melissa Barrera in the right? Is she in the wrong? Is Jenna Ortega a good friend for standing up for her? Or does she ruin her career for it? I want to hear your guys' thoughts about this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Well, it's been real, guys. Thank you for listening to another episode of Astral Insight and keeping informed with Earthscum Media. Be sure to catch us live on YouTube for D&D with our characters at 8 p.m. EST every Thursday. That's Astral Insight, Earthscum Legion on YouTube. Give us a follow, subscribe, and enjoy the celestial chaos. See ya guys next week and happy Thanksgiving? I think you humans call it. Bye guys. Ti amo.